It was a very special day. Max had just woken up to see that snow had fallen outside his house. All the streets and homes were caked in a soft blanket of white snow. It was so thick that if one were to step across it, soon enough the tracks would be covered up by new falling snow. For whatever reason, the day seemed to move by more slowly than usual. But eventually, evening came around, and let me tell you, it was a very special evening. Christmas Eve. One would expect that the evening itself would be in a hurry to prepare for the following day. The opposite was just the case. The Christmas tree was still waiting. It had long been decorated by shining ornaments and fruits. If the tree had legs, it would have been restlessly jumping from one leg to the other. But it had no legs, and all it could do was stand motion. Finally, it was time for Elfried and Ludwig to sit down and enjoy the Christmas Eve dinner. They were Max's parents, and they had to call out for Max to come and eat. This is Max. He was expected to sit at the table as a well-behaved and decently mannered child, though in reality he was always the exact opposite. He was not behaving properly, and he was not being very polite. He also wasn't very hungry, but his parents had worked extra hard on preparing the dishes, and they were really hoping that he would enjoy them.
Come on, Max. Why don't you try a spoonful of this soup? You'll be slurping this up any day.
Exactly. Any other day. But today I'm not feeling very hungry for some reason.
Elfried and Ludwig looked at each other and grinned, because they knew exactly why Max wasn't feeling hungry. Time and time again, they would see him peeping into the living room, particularly the Christmas tree. It was pretty nice to look at in and of itself, with all the ornaments and whatnot, but what really interested Max were the presents underneath. Max's parents finally decided to allow Max to open up the gifts, even though it wasn't Christmas Day yet. Of course, Max went straight to opening up his gift, because he had already chosen out his parents' gifts, and opening them up would not be very exciting. As Ludwig always said,
"The rush of anticipation far exceeds any other kind of joy."
But Max thought otherwise. Anyway, since his parents were watching, Max made sure that he opened up his gift more slowly and cautiously than if he was the only person in the living room.
Yes!
Max exclaimed, staring at his gift. He hadn't ever intended to wish for the great airplane toy out loud, though whenever he and his parents were outside, he would often walk up to the local toy shop and press his face against the glass window, staring at the large airplane model covetously. And now he was holding it in his hand, the most beautiful airplane he had ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you aboard my amazing machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and wait for the flight attendants to assist you. Please get ready for landing.
And when the runway came into view, Max made sure to land the toy plane super soft so as not to cause a crash. When the plane landed, the audience applauded Max and exited the plane. He was planning on becoming the first person to cross the Atlantic individually. Even though the sun was setting and the snow was falling, Max got ready to take off and start his journey. It didn't stay dim for too long because Max would soon reach the sky and above the clouds and towards the sun, and he would eventually discover countries that nobody ever knew existed. He just needed to turn left and go straight ahead. Max decided to turn on autopilot so that he could look out the window and closely look at everything. Now Max was flying over the Alps. From a certain distance, people say they look tiny, but they are particularly hard to climb. Max knew this because he had been there once for vacation. Max safely flew over the mountaintop without damaging the plane. Now he was above the open sea and hoping to find some sort of island in the distance. Eventually, land was in sight, and Max would have to come up with a name for it. That was all explorers did. But now he had to turn off his autopilot because he knew the entire landing depended on his flying skills. As he finally landed, he started hearing a loud mesh of different noises.
Attack! Attack! We must defend against intruders!
Calm down. It doesn't want to fight. It's a beautiful bird, a proud wing.
It might as well be the king of the birds. It does look artificial, though.
I think I recall hearing of it before. Myth has it that it is able to open up its stomach so that other animals can climb inside it and wish for the bird to take them wherever they want.
I don't believe it.
Well, it's true. Look, someone's exiting out the bird.
Then I will greet him.
The lion slowly stepped towards Max in his airplane. When Max saw it, he felt butterflies in his stomach.
Stay calm, Max. A real discoverer is able to deal with the most dangerous situations.
Elfried, Max's mother, had always taught him that if he made sure to keep his cool, the wild dogs would not hurt him. If you did get afraid, the dogs would be able to sense it, which would make you even more nervous. Max remembered asking how afraid one would have to be in order for animals to sense it, because he hadn't ever been in any other animal's place. The lion, however, barely had any sense, probably because he was very old, and his senses were not very good anymore.
My name is Kimba, and I'm the king of this jungle.
Well, hi there. I'm Max, and I'm exploring.
Welcome to my kingdom, Max. As I am the king, please allow me to come closer.
Max politely agreed, because he had previously seen in a film that the rescuers had to speak very gently to everyone.
Alright then, come with me. I will show you all of my friends.
And Max followed him.
May I introduce you to Max, the explorer.
Welcome to the jungle, Max.
The elephant hugged Max with his long trunk.
If you look behind you, you'll see Wilhelm the ostrich.
The ostrich looked over at Max sullenly.
He doesn't seem to be looking forward to my visit.
That has nothing to do with you. You know, he usually buries his family's eggs underground, and when he can't find them anymore, he gets offended and thinks that one of us has stolen them.
Oh, I understand. You know, that reminds me, my father usually loses his glasses, and he always thinks that my mother has hidden them.
And I'm Sam.
That's great! Judging by the way you look, you might be able to cross the street without having to look for cars. The cars will stop for you!
The zebra shook his head, because he didn't understand Max's joke. It was understandable, of course, because Max had actually seen cars, whereas the animals had not.
You must have been on the road for a very long time. Say, how did you even find us?
Well, I actually flew across the mountains and sea, and I was surprised to find a forest in which it's not winter.
What even is winter?
What's winter? Winter, it's when it snows?
What's snow?
Man, these animals are asking the hard questions. When it snows, it's kind of like rain, only the raindrops are as wet and it's wouldn't stop.
What about the rivers and lakes? Did they also turn white?
Yes, they also freeze over, and you can ice skate on them.
Walking on the river. Ha 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 ha.
Come, let us show you the river so that you can swim.
I already know how to swim.
The animals, however, could not hear him anymore, as they were already heading towards the water. The elephant immediately stormed into the pool, and used his trunk to shower himself with water. As Max came towards the lake, he discovered a little reptile sitting on one of the rocks that was watering the lake, and worried that if his parents were near, because he did not want to get eaten. Max decided to stay away from the water, that is, until the elephant sprayed him.
Hey, where are the monkeys? They'd usually be with the rest of us, but I can't see them.
The animals looked around, and realized that the monkeys had climbed up on Max's airplane and started swinging on it, dancing on it, and looking through its windows.
Get down from there! You're gonna destroy Max's bird!
No need to worry, it's stable, and it's not easy to break.
Is it really true that this bird can take you wherever you wish?
Oh yes, it's true. All you have to do is wish where you want to go, and then the bird will take you there. But you have to be a pilot in order to fly, like I am.
Pilot. Max is our pilot. I really wish I could fly.
You can still fly with me. You're the co-pilot, and you can assist me.
Kimba the lion nodded and approached the plane.
Co-pilot. Co-pilot. I am the co-pilot.
If you keep saying that word, you won't become the co-pilot. And you won't be able to sit next to me. Now come on, get inside the plane. Where would you like me to take you?
How about a little sightseeing flight where you get to see my kingdom from above?
Max agreed. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed that all the animals watching the both of them skeptically. Max wondered what they could be possibly thinking about, until he realized that he needed to start the plane. Slowly but surely, Max and Kimba took off. All the animals which were left behind waved goodbye to Max.
I don't know, that bird seemed a little too heavy. It might not be able to carry a whole human.
Stop talking, you killjoy. You're just jealous.
You'll see just how well they can fly.
Now Max and Kimba were above the clouds again. Kimba had still lots of questions, and Max gladly answered them. Kimba was also still planning on showing Max his entire kingdom, but that he needed to learn about how this bird worked. Max agreed and started showing him all the components of his airplane. But then the sky turned dark. Max realized that he had been so absorbed in trying to teach the lion that he hadn't even noticed that a thunderstorm was approaching. Not to worry, he thought to himself. This is just a small storm. There's no way they could destroy our airplane. But then he looked out the window and saw that the wind was causing the palm trees to sway back and forth, and eventually it ended up catching onto the airplane as well.
Hold on tight, Kimba. We're gonna crash.
And crash they did, right on top of the palm trees. It was a pretty nasty crash too, because the plane was severely damaged. Max himself was a little bit injured, but not badly injured, and Kimba was perfectly fine. As Max exited the plane, he took a good look at its exterior, which was in awful shape. There were dents in its body, cracks on its wings, and the turbines were completely destroyed.
You have to admit, that was a fun trip.
I guess you're right now that I think about it. But now we need to find our friends. Maybe they can help fix the plane. When I get back home, I should draw a map detailing this uncharted territory.
Max's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of splashing water. They had arrived at a river.
Wait, should there be a bridge here?
I'd say there's gotta be one.
Kimba was right. A bridge lined with vines stretched far out in front of them, and as far as either of them could see, it was the only way across.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'll tread carefully across, and you copy my paws exactly, got it?
I mean, it's your kingdom. You're the boss.
Actually, I could be a little heavy for it.
So they both went across. They had reached the midpoint when suddenly the bridge snapped in two. In a moment of panic, Max managed to grab onto Kimba's tail, and the two of them took a giant leap of faith towards the cliff edge.
Whoa! That was almost Olympic standard.
What's an Olympic?
I'll tell you later. We got other matters at hand. think we could be lost?
Not sure, no. We could be near. It's kind of a toss-up at this point, I'd reckon.
Oh man.
Kimba really didn't want to tell Max directly that he had absolutely zero idea where they were. The two kept on walking quietly, staying close to each other for protection.
There you two are.
Maribel! Oh man, are we glad to see you. How did you find us?
Well, I kinda supposed that flying wasn't your forte. Us birds have no problem with that kind of thing.
Lay off us, we got hit by a thunderstorm.
Nah, it was probably 'cause your weight pulled you down. Anyway, we formed a rescue team to come find you. I came up with the idea, by the way.
Hey, we didn't need any help.
Max thought otherwise. He was extremely relieved that Maribel had managed to find him.
I'm a lion. I have innate hunting instincts. We would have made it to you easily.
Trust me, this jungle is dense. You wouldn't have made it out without help from above.
Alright, fine. Guess we did need help.
The bird managed to lead them safely to back to where all their friends were. Look, here they come. Maribel found them. Maribel saved them. We're all back together. Hooray! Even the ostrich was happy. In no time flat, all the animals managed to prepare the biggest feast that Max had ever laid his eyes on. The young boy wasn't even aware they could pull off such a feast. Everybody had gathered fruits and vegetables from miles around, and it was while that Max was thanking his friends for such a wonderful time that he realized it was Christmas. This saddened them a little.
What's wrong, Max?
The elephant, despite its thick skin, was very sensitive.
You know, back where I come from, Christmas is celebrated today. And around all the houses and the streets, everything's decorated with the most fabulous lights and the Christmas trees.
Huh? What's a Christmas tree?
Oh, we take a tree from the forest, put it in our home and decorate it with baubles and candy, chocolate, and a whole bunch of other decorated stuff.
And then?
And then we sing Christmas carols, or tell stories by the fire, or play games.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I guess you don't have one of those Christmas trees, do you?
Max didn't really want to admit that it was really because he missed his parents and his warmth.
Right, we'll go get you a Christmas tree, the biggest around.
Yeah, and we can sit under it and tell stories. It'll be fun.
Max couldn't contain his happiness. All his sadness had melted away. Meanwhile, everyone else split up. Dicky proved very useful. He ripped a palm tree right from its roots and carried it straight to the animal's favorite gathering spot, planting it right into the center. Seeing as Max was the only one with prior Christmas tree experience, he was in charge of how it was to be decorated. He was never allowed to do that at home. The giraffes bended their long necks to help Max reach up those high up areas. Decorating the tree at home was always a nightmare, not so much here. Finally, the Christmas tree was ready. The world's first jungle Christmas. Max and his friends stood back and admired it proudly.
Let's tell stories.
Regale us, your majesty. And Kimba began his tale. Listening to Kimba's story, Max started to nod off. When he awoke, he found himself back in his bed, surrounded by his parents.
I'm back home again.
Of course you're back home. You fell asleep.
No, I wasn't asleep. You won't believe where I've been. Do you want me to tell you?
We'd love to hear, but it'll have to wait until morning, okay?
Max agreed, as he still felt extremely tired. And as he looked out the window, he noticed that it was still snowing. He wondered to himself if Kimba, Dicky, and the others were still telling stories around the palm tree.
I'll meet you again, friends. But first, so many lands to discover. The North Pole, New Patagonia, New Jersey. Maybe I might even discover a new planet.